Hello everyone, I'm Keith Park with Print Your World. I promise I'm going to do better with the video editing in the future. I'm trying around a little bit with a few different cameras and a few editing programs. I'm sure I'll get it figured out quickly enough. But I wanted to talk to you all about what I discussed in my video the other day. The projects that I want to go and do, and the machines that I'm going to go and do on it, and the reasons why I'm doing these things. Well, first I should start by saying that I've been tearing apart electronics since I was a kid. And, well, frankly, when I wound up starting with computers and got my first real desktop computer, I didn't know anyone else who had a computer in their home. In fact, cell phones didn't even exist. And now we have these Star Trek-like computers that we carry around with us everywhere as communication devices that, well, frankly, they're more powerful than any desktop from 10 years ago. Well, that's kind of where we're at now with 3D printers coming into our homes and our places. It's kind of like those first computers. They're, I guess you could say, out in the proving grounds. And it'd be interesting to see it into your places, in your homes. That's actually why I want to show you what I am doing. Hopefully it will inspire you. Maybe you'll think, hey, that was really, really super cool. And you'll show somebody else and they'll be inspired. I don't know. Either way, I'm open to any questions you have about anything that I'm going to go and talk about, and I'd love to hear your ideas for any future videos as well. Now, one of the projects that I talked about doing was a set of animatronic eyes and mouth. Well, here are the eyes right here. As you can see, their eyes are open now, and they can go and blink and go and move different directions, up and down, etc. I wanted to point that on up because to me that's really cool. I mean that we can take our 3D printers, go and print out something, put together some electronics with it, and boom, got something practically right out of Disney. In fact, that's what my next kind of project here is to go and make a mouth for it as well, and I'm hoping to have it all done by Halloween. So I'm going to discuss the little troubles and easy things that I found along the way. Printing it didn't actually turn out to be all that much of a struggle at all. It's a really well designed item, and if your printer is reasonably dimensionally accurate, you shouldn't have any problems with everything fitting on in. The cost of parts isn't terribly much either. I'd say probably maybe $40 to $50 Canadian total, which is even less when we're talking about from our American friends down south. And so, again, asking why? Well, this Halloween, what a cool thing. Someone to come on up to your door instead of buying something that was made by somebody else, having made something yourself. So, full disclosure, I didn't design this. No. You see, that's the cool thing, is that there are so many designs out there that other people have already done. Projects, ideas, a 3D scanner that I made that literally scan objects from your household into your computer that you then can go and 3D print off of your printers. This is the world we're now coming into. That's what I'm talking about, of how these printers are now in a proving ground. Because you now get to prove whether or not they are, in fact, the game changer that I think they are. I'm going to certainly hope I can prove it in the process of all of this, because it's not an expensive hobby to get involved with. And I think that a lot of this knowledge is essential for the things that are coming in the future. We go and take a look at automation. Automation is promising to suggest that by 2025, we're going to see at least 52% of all work being done on Earth done by robots, machines, or computerized machines anyway. Well, that means there's also going to be a lot of robots that are going to be coming into our homes. And if robots are coming into our homes and we're going to be working with them, well, just like those first people who bought computers, they had to learn how to fix them. Why? Because you can't always afford to go and pay some technician to go and do this. Well, that's no different than if we're going to be owning expensive things like robots, and if we don't want to have to continuously pay for spare parts from overseas, we better start how to go and repair and build them, do them ourselves. Right? And that's part of what the goal is here. This stuff is really not that hard at all. In fact, the parts, as I said, that are involved in here, we've got a Arduino Uno in there and a stepper controller board right on over here. Essentially, between those two right there, you're $20, $30 worth of parts kind of thing, and it required me to go and install a program onto my computer and then tell it to install it onto this device just by telling it the device and the COM port is on it. Super easy, right? Now, it did take some troubleshooting, and there are some important things to note. You can see that everything is all nicely lined up right now, and I didn't quite realize, and it should have occurred to me, that before I installed the stepper motors, they wouldn't be in their set end position, their start position. So my eyes were all over the place, and eyelids were partly closed and partly opened. It looked like a Bill the Cat moment. Needless to say, I learned from that. You go and turn on all the stepper motors, you go and reset up where everything is supposed to be for its initial start position, and also, of course, figuring out where it's going to blink by closing its eyelids and setting that as well. And it was really fun, actually. It took me a day to print all the parts, another day to assemble it, and a day of fiddling around with it. Now I've got a cool thing to go and add on to. Next comes the mouth. Now, I mean, seriously, guys, I mean, you look at that. That's something that was printed in my house. Right? I mean, it's an amazing hobby. It's a fantastic hobby. And you know, there are a number of different individuals who can teach you a lot about what you're going to go and do in this hobby. I hope I can be one of them for you as well. But there are people who taught me a lot along the way. And I'll certainly reference them where I can. I think they're important tools to pick up, like Tinkercad and Blender, because you're not really 3D printing until you are creating it yourself. Now, I said I was going to discuss about my 3D printers and my other hardware as well, and kind of calibrating and stuff like that. I think I'm going to leave that to another video. I hope I provided some insight and some interesting things about what I'm doing, and I want to share a couple last thoughts about what is being done with 3D printing right now, hopefully to inspire you, and I hope you'll come back to come and hear more of the ideas that I'm going to be sharing like this. Did you know that they have been printing meat, as in like steak? I'm not talking about plant-based steak. I'm talking about a real meat-based steak on the International Space Station. In fact, they've been doing it for the last 2 years in orbit around our planet. Every 90 minutes it's going around in orbit and it's busily going and making steak. Well, it kind of makes some sense. I mean, if you're going to be on Mars, how are you going to possibly go and have steak out there again? Even frozen, I mean, well, we've all seen what happens when it sits in the freezer for a while, right? So they have perfected this process to the point now where it's starting to enter U.S. steakhouses where people are saying they really can't tell the difference. People could say, well, how the heck is it printing it? Well, it takes the cow's stem cells and it uses those stem cells as a basis once they program them and they print it on out. It tells some of it to be protein, some of it to be fat and sinew, etc. The point here is that the process is taking one step closer and closer every day to technology like we saw in Star Trek. Before people go and question that whole idea, right in our hands, we carry it every day, the communicator and tricorder we watched in the shows oh so long ago. I want you to consider that they're now even building houses. Things for the mouth. Things for the body. Heck, I can go and tell you that BMW, who owns Rolls-Royce, they are printing the exhaust manifolds of their engines. Metal printing. There's so much more I can't wait to share with you all, and I hope to see you all again. Take care and have a wonderful day.